Splendour Mugo, who is the influencer manager at Digitribe. A round of applause as she comes on stage, tafadhali. Our very own Martin Githinji, aka Daddie Marto, karibu to the stage. And to moderate this session and interact with this panelist is Grace Ndiege, who is the Influence and Advocacy Manager, Digitribe, EABL. A round of applause as she comes on stage, tafadhali.
Good morning. I see a room full of young, so much potential. I think anytime I look on social media, I'm always looking to discover new creators. How many of us are creating content? How many? Up there? Who's looking, who's still thinking about it? Thinking about it or creating? Thinking about it. No, you need to move. I think the first panel did a very good job of telling us how we can kind of figure out the places where the money can go, the tools that you can put in place. But one thing we haven't talked about is how do we get the money? What are the sources? I know Carrie's in the room. Don't worry about them for now. We need to know how to place ourselves the right way. And so in case you're still thinking about being a creator, I'll tell you for free, there's so much money that is being made. And without ambushing them, how much money are you making off of creators? I think off of every contract creators make as independent consultants, usually it's about 5% that we are paying as withholding, but there's a little bit more that you're asking for. So you can tell us that there's a lot of money you're making from the digital space, right? No? Okay, we'll talk about it later. But for any of us who is wondering, so where are these sources for us creating this income? I'm gonna go into the panel and ask first Daddie Marto to introduce himself, and then Splendour. Let's find out a bit about who we have on the table with us today before I go into ask them questions and see how or what value they can actually give to you guys.
All right. Good morning once again. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. Thank you. My name is Martin Githinji, aka Daddie Marto. I am a multi-hyphenate creative. I have been in almost everything in the media industry as it demands sometimes. I am an actor, scriptwriter, director, content creator, news anchor, events MC, radio presenter. Basically, I am a media, arts, and entertainment practitioner.
So multi-hyphenate is the right word for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Splendour Mugo, as you can see. I'm very passionate about content creation, but my background started with social media management. That's where I started, very young, at the age of, before the scene was huge. When we were in campus, we did this nano campaigns for campuses and also for brands. That's where I started managing nanos. And I grew into a social media manager and a digital marketer in my early 20s. And I've grown to become an influencer manager. So this is the creative space, something that wows me, how individuals can become so much just from a phone or a room in their house or just a dance. So we're going to see how that grows and how that scales as we go through the panel. But otherwise, I'm very passionate about this and can't wait to have discussions.
Welcome. So I think just going into it, Marto, and I want to start with you. You've spoken about all these different creative forms that you do. And I want us to just touch on to, let's look at someone that's an everyday content creator that's looking at different social platforms. I want you to just walk us through what sources you make money from. You don't have to go into the numbers. The eyes are in the room. You don't have to go into the numbers. And if you look at this, and what percentage are you getting from social media platforms versus brand deals versus any other form. I think the last, it was said you can, as a creator, you can also extend your equity into product. So what are the sources and what percentages are you making off of these different sources of?
All right. So if I had an accountant, they'd be laughing at me right now, trying to talk about numbers because they are quite erratic. So one of the things that is very evident in our space is the erratic nature of income based on seasons. So there are times when the content creation space will be up because there are many brands that are running campaigns. And then there are times, especially now that we know every June, July, brands are like, wacha tunyamaze kidogo, and we know why. And we know why, you know. That was something that was not there 3 years ago, but starting 2 years ago and last year, and probably this year, unatulia kidogo. We have seasons where they intensify, especially when we go towards the festive season and, you know, the turn of the year. But then because of that, and because your expenses do not wait for you to make money, you have to diversify and do other things, which also have their own seasons. For example, as a scriptwriter and as a director and as an actor, there are seasons when broadcasters will commission for shows, so you'll be able to get that when you're acting. But then now there are some jobs that they will give you pesa kidogo, but they are consistent. Say, for example, things like when you leverage on the skills and assets that you have, well, that I have, say probably as a script advisor or script writer for other content creators who are in season when you're out of season, as a production company for, you know, those creators, as a director, a script writer, even as a social media manager for brands that, you know, small brands that probably need to capture a specific campaign period or a specific season, say it's just pre-Valentine's or post-Valentine, or they have a 50% sale off because they want to finish the stock that they have, you know, such things. So unless you look at it at probably within a whole year and say, okay, between January and December, which one is the one that gives you the most? I'd say even in the content creation itself, of course, as you can see, they are varied. There are some that I will make money because I am partnering with a brand because they have a campaign. Another moment, it's because I put out a video that did well on social media and it went a bit viral. And then, you know, because I have some monetization tools on, I make some money from it in itself, which is not very common, but it's very rare. But, you know, it could happen. It can happen. It has happened. And then, yeah, I think probably I'd put it that way. You know, I can't exactly say, up on your mboka iko. Things vary.
Okay. I mean, we've seen Meta introduce the monetization on their platform. I think YouTube has had it for years. Many creators, especially abroad, often live off of money that they make off of YouTube. Have you received a check from Meta ever?
Not yet. Not yet.
And
emphasis on yet. It is probably coming, but not yet.
And I'm asking this because I've seen videos of people revealing the ad streams that they made off of Meta, and it's often a ridiculous amount. It's even under $1, whereas people that make money off of YouTube will probably have $400, $500, $700, up to $3,000 USD. I think before COVID, when vlogging was at its peak, people bought big houses off of the money that they made on YouTube. For the longest time, it's been one of those platforms that has consistently paid people. But I'm not sure if there's anyone in the room that's a YouTuber that if they still make as much money. And I'm curious to learn from anyone. So interesting that you tapped into the brands and as your source, as your main, probably your main source of income. And as we look at this, you've talked about season. So you go into maybe a Valentine season or a tax season. I mean, Carrie is now paying influencers to teach people how to file their taxes or to remind people to file their taxes. Even those of you that are filing nil returns, you're seeing the content, which means the education is happening. And I guess I want to speak to Splendour on this. So how can a content creator now move from those, your one-off campaigns that you do, say you have a January post or a December post when brands are spending the most, or Black November, Black Friday. That's when I've also seen within the Kenyan space a lot of creators making money, to long-term deals. So what's the one thing that creators are doing so they can pitch themselves in a way that brands will listen and think about them as ambassadors, think about them as an affiliate partner, and think about them as a long-term retainer?
So the first thing I'd like to say is that content creators need to stop seeing themselves as just content creators, but as a media business. So the previous panel and also the guest speakers have spoken on it a lot, and I think it's going to be repeated through the day, that you're not just a person, you are a business. And it's no longer a side thing, something you do for fun. When you decide to take content creation, probably it will be a determination of your career to the end. So the first thing also that you need to understand is that brands do not look for you to just solve a creative brief. Because for most of the time when you're given a gig, or I don't know what you'd call it, a partnership, the first time it's usually maybe a campaign based, or maybe for a short period of time, as Martin has said, and maybe it might not amount to a lot, something to sustain you. So here is where we bring scalability. And what are you bringing to the brand more than just numbers? As Musau has said, followers is nothing to most brands, because every day there's a new content creator coming up with more followers. So how are you pitching yourself to the brand? What problem are you solving? So creators should not be solving a creator brief, but understand the brand better and know what value are you bringing above and beyond just 2 reels, 1 static, or stories, or a PR package. So when you're bringing yourself and pitching yourself to your client, show how you understand your audience and how your audience is going to, and your audience and your creation is going to come and solve different problems that they have, if it's reach, if it's awareness. Another thing is that pitch your storytelling through the line. Be of more value than just a video. So once you start seeing from that aspect and not getting gigs, you work towards something more long term. Another thing is that, as Martin has said, you're not supposed to have, I just create videos, that's all. Then for me, it's not a value. And it's not also return on investment for me, because I'll get eyeballs on your content, I'll get people to attend my event, but from there on, what other value do you bring? So things like image rights, things like also, as Martin has said, social media management, scale yourself to be more than just a creator, and also to offer more than just videos and the normal deliverable. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, there's something that I always say, that sometimes we can diminish the importance of one thing because of where we are at. So say, for example, everybody here either is in university or has been to university or has been to college. It was so important for your KCSE results to be relevant for you to get to university. Correct. But your KCPE results do not matter at this point, wherever you are. KCPE right now does not matter. It doesn't matter what you got, whether you failed or you passed. If you passed in your KCSE, it matters for university. Same way, KCPE was so important for when you are going to high school. So depending at what level you are, so there's somebody probably who's thinking, okay, I don't need to build followers, and you have none. No, that's not your level right now. You need to build that and then get to a place where it is no longer relevant because you're focusing on something else. Second thing that I wanted to say, it is early on in my journey, I genuinely thought that the platforms were the business. That if the views were good, then life was good. You know, if engagement drops, you panic. You see, now I know better. You know, platforms are actually where people discover you. You know, they are not where you build your security as a creator. So today, the bigger chunk, of course, comes from, like I said, partnership. But then there is storytelling work. There is, like I said, hosting, production strategy, basically creating an entire ecosystem around what you do. Ted mentioned the products, and IP. Well, it's still a muscle I'm personally, intentionally trying to build because, of course, that's where true independence starts. But there needs to be a shift from creator earning from content to business using content as fuel. You get that?
Yes.
Creator earning from content and business using content as fuel, because platforms will bring attention, but business brings sustainability.
I hope you're all getting all the gems that are being. And as we look at that, I think in Splendour you had already gone into it when you're looking at influencers and how they position themselves. What's our mindset that an influencer needs to have now for them to be able to shift and, move from just being perceived as an influencer and into more of a collaborator, especially for brands and for their audiences as well?
So the first thing I've realized is that influence will get you hired, get people calling you and wanting to collaborate with you. But professionalism, we forget that a lot. So because content creation is fun, can be a bit draining. I would say a bit, I wouldn't downgrade it. It can be draining, it can be mentally draining, but there's the professional bit. At the end of the day, you're a business. So first, be professional. Brands look for so much more than just your numbers and just you as a personality. Something that I have seen fail so many creators. And it does not mean that you be rigid and hard. It's more of how you network with people. Like in this forum, for example, I'm here. Surely, if we met in the corridors, would you say that I would be the one who determines whether EABL works with you or not? Probably not. So, so it is something that I have seen work for creators. Network, know each other, collaborate, speak about what you do. And above it all, apart from professionalism, also communicate. So there's one young man who has just said right now, burnout gets to you. How do you deal with it? A brand is working with you, you're burnt out in the middle. Why? You need to communicate that. However hard it might feel, however cliche or cringe or whatever it may look, you need to communicate. Another thing is that I have seen is how reliable are you? Yeah, because if there's something that I have learned working with influencers, I'll always pick the reliable. What are you doing in terms of following up with what you're doing in terms of your content? You're supposed to do 2 reels in a month. You're being called to be reminded. You're not supposed to be reminded. You're a business. And business does not run like that. So first of all, handle yourself with a bit of professionalism. Work, collaborate, ask questions, ask your fellow creators. Marto is here today. I think sad to say, but yeah, just inquire, understand. The industry is huge, it's large. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, we get to see creators. Some of you are reloading. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say the same.
People also talk. That's the one thing creators overlook. That profession, and how you treat other people that you interact with matters. Rooms. Splendour works at Digitribe today, but she's worked across more brands. She's worked at Airtel, Cola. Someone at a different agency will ask, can you share with me investors who absolutely deliver based off of data, based off of your experience? And in some instances, we'll be asked and we'll say, this person has really good numbers, but you will struggle with them on this other side. So it's very, very important for you to also just always maintain and make sure that you're on top of it. You cannot be rude. You cannot delay yourself. And then always look at that. I feel like for me, it's always look at that one job as your almost your audition, only as good as you. So no matter how many posts you might have been viral 5, 10, 3 years ago, if today you are not relevant, you're not able to give your audience that kind of, how would a brand want to your
Like to so relationship because a serious man might think that you're but you're I talk, so you need professional, and is a creator that has grown does the telling. If there's something that most influencers don't realize, that most of your and you learn from one to another. Today you have Coke, tomorrow you have, so you understand that how you treat them, you're going to relationship that to what most how you talk, how you present, how you organize yourself, from paying tax.
And a bit of a trajectory there, and you've also spoken at what kind of relationships takes to get big brands like EABL, any big brand that you would want. And I want us to just go back to any creator that's starting from zero. And Marto, what's the revenue stream they should build for living?
Okay. Even before I answer that, it's to build on it with something. So I diversified very early on in my, creative journey, so to speak, not just as a content. And I think this came at the height of my career as an actor, where I was in one of the, best shows on TV at the time. And then when they said it's a wrap, I was jobless. And I had a child who was coming.
For context, for the Gen Zs in the room, this was Tahiri Haino.
No, it was a Suna Johnny.
Suna Johnny.
Yeah, Suna
Okay,
Johnny.
clearly.
Yeah, I think that was the highlight. The other ones, I was just a featured, character on an episode or so. But on Suna Johnny, at least I was a title character. And then when it was a wrap, that was it. I'm jobless. And of course, that visibility that you get when the show is ongoing, it can lie to you. And it lied to me. And because in this industry, people can know your name, they can love your content, they can quote your jokes, but your pocket is bad.
They'll see in the supermarket.
Watakuita monene, watakuita bosi, watasema si unilipie fare leo, alafu watakuuliza kwa nini uko kwa matatu badala ya kudrive, And of course, that was a hard lesson. And I realized that applause and income are not twins. Just because you see me at work does not mean I am earning very well. Of course, because in our space, visibility is part of the job. It's by seeing me that, I get to work. And I keep on saying that sometimes we are in a vanity industry because you have to love what I do for me to earn with what I do. So we always wake up every day to stand in front of the camera, or in front of people, to give our best foot forward and be pleasing with what we are doing. And because if you're not, again, you're only as good as your last job. If you're not, unaenda nyumbani. So the question that changed my thinking was, if whatever I'm doing right now, like even as it was asked before, if this app disappears tomorrow, are you still employed? And then I was like, if the answer is no, then I don't have a business yet. So what did I start trying to do? Service immediately. Everyone wants passive income too quickly, unfortunately. Mnataka kuingia forex, pesa imeingia tu kingoja. Uongo. Haitaingia hivyo ati crypto. Uongo. So for me it was, can you edit? Can you write scripts? Can you shoot content? Can you manage socials? Can you host events? Can you consult brands? Followers are nice, but clients are survival.
Can you manage other influencers?
Oh, yes.
Can you manage other talent?
Followers will give you fire emojis, but clients will give you checks. So, so that's where I went to service immediately. Yeah.
So I guess it's with us to, look within. What can you do? If you cannot be the talent, can you be or can you find other ways to make a revenue? And for all this work, Splendour, how much are we paying content creators right now? Are they making real money? And can they live off of this? And I'm saying this because I pay people and I see people buying new cars, and I've been driving the same car for 6 years now. So are people making money and good money out of content creation?
Being on the paying side is easiest, because you're going to be paying someone 5 times your salary to be. I wouldn't downplay it to one video, because I know what work it means for that one reel to come out, and for that production, and for that brainstorm, and that videographer you have. Even if you don't have one, especially if it's a one-man show, I understand. But the money is there, and I'm not going to lie, brands will give you money. But your negotiation skills, I'm going to go back to and double down to that, because I have witnessed influencers with great numbers, and for us, numbers does not mean just for. I'm going to build a base on this. So before you're picked to do a certain campaign or to work with a certain brand, there are so many things that we get to look at. And the first thing is, of course, your followers. The second thing is how culturally fit are you or your audience, or the type of content that you do with the brand. So I cannot pick, for example, creator who does their content that does fashion content to football. Doesn't make sense. You have to align. The second thing is your numbers, of course, and numbers in terms of your following, your engagements. So these are the things that Martin was saying. Your followers are going to give you the stars, the tomato fires, the comments, the reposts, such things. Look at all of them. And I see you have great numbers, you have great content, you invest in your production, you do very good content. But when I ask you, so this is the job, how much do you expect me to pay you for this job? That's where the problems come. So it's either you overquote or you underquote. That's my experience with it. So one thing I'd really want you to have and always have is a rate card. Okay? So, and your rate card is based on numbers. Show us why we should be paying that 100, 200, 300, even 500. There's no that there are creators that charge even 1 million for one video. YouTube, people used to scale on YouTube and have millions of followers, 100 subscribers, 100,000 and earn from it. People moved from YouTube to TikTok. It affected people. So also understand that relevance might change, and also seasons change, as Martin has said, and also numbers do not, and how people celebrate it does not certify that you'll get a job or you're getting an income. So various sources of income and also growing yourself, also take some few lessons. I know there are free lessons on Google, HubSpot for different things in the same field. So yes, there is money, we are paying them, but don't rely on content creation only. Please scale yourself to do more than just that.
As we wrap up, Marto, kuna mali uliekela beti kachomeka. Just tell us, what's a win and a loss that you've had as you've been looking for money?
Hey, you're asking me the wins and losses I've had, eh? Now me. Well, big win, experiences. Human interaction. Events, hosting, interpersonal relationships, with representatives in brands, because I always say people support you when they feel connected to you. And, comment section, yes, can like you, but a room can trust you, and especially, those comment sections. One of the biggest lessons I got last year is that comment section can turn on you so bad and so fast, because last year, was a tough year for me. It was a tough year for me in terms of my personal life and also my career as well, because they integrated into each other in a way that the social media space, felt ownership of it, which is one of the tools at the time that I was using, which is one of the tools at the time I was using for connection, because that is how people connect with you. That's where my audience is. But then now it gets to a point that the same thing that you connected to your audience with is the same thing that you're being bashed with, whatever the details of it are, so to speak. So it is the relationships that I had built over time that allowed me, of course, to step back when I needed to, and then start moving back towards where I'm growing to right now. It is the relationship I built with a certain marketing manager or digital manager somewhere who left that company and went to another one, and is like, you know what? I know you as a person, I know what you can do, let's do this. And then slowly start coming back. Because it's a way, of course, the authenticity of who you are as a person and the relationships you build. A big loss, assuming audience love equals buying power. Which I'll again go back to what said about, like asking, yes, they love me, but do they love my match? They love me, but do they love my match? Because likes are emotional and purchases are behavioral. But of course, again, being that this is a vanity industry and work, you need to remember that can change at any time, and the new kid on the block can come any day, and that attention might shift to that other. So what are you doing to stay relevant? And how resilient are you when facing all odds, whether financial or personal, career-wise? How resilient are you facing? So big wins, yes. Big losses, yes. Here we are, waiting to be as relevant as we need the space that we have. And I keep on saying, I am not paid to work, paid to have. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Young man who had asked, "What do you a day?" That's so I'm going to open it up